So I think maybe what you're asking is okay, so David Mamet came and saw me in a play. I did a Horton Foote play in Los Angeles at the Law Studio. And Horton Foote actually came to the play. It was like a few months before he died.
Wow.
And nerve-wracking. Horton Foote came to the play, and David Mamet came to the play. So David Mamet and his wife, Rebecca, came to the play, and they stayed. It was sort of 2 one-acts, I think. Anyway, I was only in the first half. So they stayed for that, and they left because their kid was sick. But he wrote me a little note. He said, great job, on his business card, wrote,
wow.
and great job. And I thought, well, that was pretty cool. And then the next thing you know, he put me in a Funny or Die video, which was amazing. And
with the chicken suit?
No, this was, I interviewed Ariana Huffington, and because we were talking about Picasso's book about Picasso co-wrote a book with Earl Scheib about painting. So just kind of a
that's good,
kind of funny joke a genius makes. But and so anyway, and Ariana Huffington was stunning. Like she didn't know her lines. Like she showed up and hadn't even looked at it, and we're in her house. We showed up at her house in Brentwood, which is like this. It could probably be a museum. I mean, it's like 100-year-old house, and I went in the bathroom, and like the windows were still those old kind of lead, whatever window. I don't know if they're lead, but anyway, I think I'm getting off track.
It's all right. Go ahead.
So we did that, and just to end that story, like, so Dave says, come on, let's run it. And she doesn't know it. And he goes, well, maybe you guys should go over there and run it. We go over and like run it twice, and she knows my lines. Like after 2 times through, she had her lines and my lines. And absolutely brilliant woman. And made us baklava herself and served it to us. She was stunning. So that happened. And then fast forward, then he put me in this HBO movie with Al Pacino and Helen Mirren and Dame Helen Mirren. And who was a dame by then. This is about 2010 maybe, about the time my car was being made, and Jeffrey Tambor and Chiwetel Ejiofor and a bunch of great actors, so I had this like huge part in this movie based on fucking nothing, based on the fact that Dave liked me because I did a little short film with him. So, HBO was pissing their pants. Like, what do we do? And he just, he said he's not going to audition. It's his part and I'm giving it to him and whatever. So the point is that happened because I don't know if I have what it takes if I had to come up here in Hollywood.
Because it becomes a hustle. It becomes less of an art, more of a hustle. Yes,
because a hustle very quickly.
What it sounds like you're saying is you went back to being able to consider yourself an artist and less of a hustler. I think I had just enough in me to not forget that, because you get here and the hustle starts right away, right? Like get off the plane and you're hustling, or you're dead. And so, but I think that I at a certain point started that hustle and sort of had that kind of insight, like, oh no, like I think maybe it was the fact that it's Mamet, it's all Mamet. It's a guy like that who saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself, and having that guy see that in me and support that. It gave you confidence, John.
It gave me confidence, and maybe even more so like an insight, like, oh, maybe I'm an artist because I'm not going to fool him. I'm not going to put anything past that guy. So I don't know. I think that when I started, it also made it easier. It also, I don't know how anything works. So I'm starting to feel like I know how things work, and I don't. But I just do know that there was a kind of a shift where I was like, I remember those feelings of the movie, the Phil Spector movie came out, and I was like, here we go. And then it didn't, I'm at the premiere in New York, and here we go. And it didn't happen. And I think I was in a place where I could have just gone like, what the fuck? Or I could have been like, what's next,
Yeah. And you were like, what's next?
What's next? Yeah. And you know, from there, it's, I mean, you know, Barry was just like, yeah, I was going to tell you, I used to see like actors, like sort of established actors, talk about how lucky they are. And I used to be like, fuck you. What do you mean lucky? You know, you work really hard. You're talented and you work really hard. Luck. And now I'm like, oh yeah. Yep. I get it. Yep. I was going to tell you I saw so many shitty stand-ups and I respected every single one of them. 100% of them. It was like, I can remember this young woman, little tiny woman in some little weird space that was like in the basement of some other theater or whatever. And there was probably 30 of us in there. And she got up there and her jokes were terrible. And she just kept going. She didn't flinch. She would smile and then she would tell her next joke. And I remember just being like in awe of that. I was like, God bless her. Like that's the fierceness of that. Right. Just like, I am going to go through, this is not going to be my night. And maybe she's used to that. I cannot imagine that she had ever really killed it, this girl, because her jokes were so like pedestrian and
but it's the way that it didn't faze her was what
the way that it did not faze her. It was powerful. And I remember exactly what she looks like. I wish I could remember her name. I think Matt Walsh was hosting. Isn't stand up Matt Walsh? Anyway, is it Matt Walsh?
The name sounds familiar.
Anyway,
I don't know for sure.
But I remember that night because I remember that woman, and I'm pretty sure she inspired me in that moment. And you know, to my larger point, I'm inspired by every stand-up that I see. I mean, people, you know, and you know, I'm sitting in the back of the room with the stand-ups, and you know, and they're being snotty sometimes or whatever. And I just remember thinking, anybody that can go up there and do that, my tip my hat to him.
Well, this was a perfect segue to explain that, John, the way you and I met was at our synagogue, or you know, I haven't been to the synagogue in a while, but I was
gonna talk to you about that, Stephen. You know, we've been asking where you've been, and actually, your mother called, and she.
And you haven't been there either, so don't bullshit.
I haven't. But your mother still called for some reason. It's weird, actually. She kind of calls a lot.
There's something about me that makes people think my mother's contacting various people. There's some Benjamin Braddock thing that I have going on, that no matter how much of an edge I get or how much attitude I get, I can't shake this. Like people telling me that I should sell plastics.
No, you do have you have an everyman look and an everyman vibe about you. And I think, if I may be so bold as to say, I think that's a value to you and to your work. I think that allows you to say a lot of the crazy shit that you say, because we accept you as a, you know what I mean? You're not like Cat's wacky, you know? And so, you know what I mean? He's kind of like, he's like a fucking battery moving around the stage, you know? And so like, you know, lightning is firing off him. You don't even know what the hell's going on. But you know, you're more, you look like you should be in plastics. Exactly.
Right.
Which I think gives you more leeway. I think Cat's got a bigger, you know, more to overcome, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. I'm also not as naturally funny as Cat, but 99% of the population are.
No, I was going to say that. Yeah, not even close. It's
no, not even
you're not
close.
even funny.
I'm not even trying. Why that would be a.
I actually kind of thought that was that was your comedy. That was your bit, was to be not funny. I thought that's what you were doing. It was like a kind of a not funny, like a commentary on.
It is, John. It is. I think you nailed it. You hit the nail on the head,
dude. I was doing stand up at the Improv, and Chris Rock showed up, and you know, when Chris Rock shows up,
everyone gets bumped.
Everybody gets bumped, right? And I was like, awesome, you know, because I'm not any good at this anyway, and This is going to be better for all of us if Chris goes up. And so he came up with he had a yellow legal pad, and he threw it down on the piano, and he had like a hat on, like this, and he would like pick up the pad and he'd look at it and he'd kind of pace back and forth and go, okay, so, and like Chris would come out from underneath that hat and he would be there popping Oprah, whatever, and then recede back in. Okay, it was like and this is well into Chris's fame and fortune. I mean, he was. This is, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago or something when I first got here, and I don't know. I just thought that was kind of magical to watch. Kind of like you say, like it's like, if Chappelle doesn't hit everything, we don't really see that when we see Chappelle's Hour, because we see a refined piece of a masterpiece that has been refined, fine-tuned.
Well, you might actually, with Chappelle so brilliant, you might actually be watching. People may be watching experimentation. They don't know it's experimentation.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and he's in front of his crowd.
Yeah.
And Carlin talked about, George Carlin, probably one of my favorite, biggest influence on me as a teenager anyway. In interviews later on, he talked about how it wasn't really until the early 90s that he got his crowd was all there and they knew his voice. That's and great. He was hitting his stride with expressing himself, and he was going from telling jokes to doing essays, to delivering essays and monologues, basically. Uh-huh. And but he mentioned a couple of concerts that he did, and I remember this was the concert that I saw as a teenager.
Oh, that's great.
And I would have never known this was just all the stars aligning for George Carlin. I just assumed it was always that way for George Carlin because he's brilliant, and who wouldn't think he's brilliant, right? But it was a time and place where it was just right for him.
Well, and his stuff was, I've heard him say his stuff was, written out, and he's saying it verbatim, like what he's written. And that guy did an hour every year, like pretty much every year of his life, he had a new hour. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I never saw him do stand up, but I saw him on a book tour when he did Napalm and Silly Putty, and saw him interviewed. And this guy, I don't even remember his name. Some friend of mine just like got me completely stoned before we went in there, and watched. There was something sort of. I wasn't, super stoned, as I said, but like prepared, like, oh shit, that's George Carlin sitting there. My reverence for George Carlin. It's like he was just, for a second, he was just a guy talking about his book, and then I was like, that's fucking
holy
George
shit,
Carlin.
We're in front of George Carlin.
Holy shit, that's George Carlin.
I dislike a quarterback who runs first. Steve Young, Fran Tarkenton, all of these guys, Lamar Jackson, as we see it today. I like a quarterback who uses that as an extra weapon, not as the only weapon. And that was Kaepernick's bag. And so when they began to take that away, then you began to see his play.
A very one-dimensional player.
And he started to digress. And, as we know, like after, he started to digress and his activism was there too, then, like people were like, just basically saying they had already put him second tier and saying, the distraction would be too much for a caliber player like this. Now, answering your question, yeah, many teams, if he had been like a Brady, or if he had been like a Lamar Jackson, or somebody that was that one tier guy,
right?
You already know our system dictates that you deal with whatever. You know what I mean? Look at Terrell Owens. He could ball.
People put up with so much shit from him because he was a game changer.
Exactly. But then once he couldn't live up to that core, his problems, outweighed everything else, then it was like, all right, do we really need this? Because we can justify it if we're winning. We can justify it if you're going out there and you're kicking ass. But if you're going out there and it's like this, then why are we subjecting ourselves to that? Because the fan base, you have to understand, you already know as a football player, man, the bottom line is win. You know what I mean? Nick Bosa comes out last year and he's got all these tweets and all this other stuff that's kind of perceived as kind of racist. He's a Trump supporter, all this stuff. But once the 49ers started winning and he started kicking ass.
Brady is friends with Trump.
You know what I mean? We didn't hear anything else about that. So, as football fans, bottom line is,
Right.
win at all costs. And
I want to
deal with things, we'll deal with them.
I want to say something about this because it's popping in my mind right now. I have friends. I grew up around conservative people. The areas I grew up in and around, and even in my family, very conservative. I would say there are Trump supporters and there are Trump sympathizers. Mm-hmm. And my father is a Reagan Republican who I just had an argument with him on the phone. He told me Trump's going to win in a landslide again. I said to my Reagan Republican dad, I go, Dad, this is back when Trump said, boycott the NFL, right?
Right.
He said, boycott the NFL. This is how I knew actually for sure. This is when I knew for sure that the president was a maniac. And his supporters were had their heads stuck up their Hannity. I said to my Reagan Republican dad, hey, Dad, are you going to give up the Chicago Bears for Donald Trump? And he said, without missing a beat, he said, what? No, I'm not giving up the NFL. I'm not going to give up reliable entertainment that I'm passionately invested in for some fucking jackass politician who is to me, that was I'm so glad we're talking about this because that, I don't think I ever told anybody about that, but that gave me comfort because I was like, the president is so delusional. This is how delusional this guy is. He thinks people are going to give up the NFL for him.
But he's playing on a whole nother playing field. And,
he's playing in the USFL, Trenton.
Man, yeah. The Generals.
He was the founder of the USFL. Donald Trump was one of the financiers of the USFL. He wanted to bring down the NFL back in the 80s.
Nah, but it was, that whole thing too. It was led by an upstart Donald Trump who wanted to take on the NFL. And so, like, back to your point, he's always had a hard on for the NFL. Right. So at least you can say he's consistent in the entities that he likes to take out. You mess him over, he's kind of like Jordan. He never forgets a grudge.
The only difference is that Jordan came from nothing, inherited nothing, and was a winner. Trump has failed upwards in life and has convinced people that he's somehow anyway, I'm sure there are some Trump people who watch this podcast. If you are one of the, I'm respectful of you. I'm always respectful of you. But at this point, we have to have a laugh at your expense.
And I'm an independent, so
I am an independent as well. But I've registered Democrat to vote for Bernie Sanders. But look, bottom line, we got to have some laughs at your expense. You got to be able to deal with it. If you need a safe space from us having a laugh about the mistakes you've made politically in voting, and I'm not saying I have all the answers or Trenton has all the answers, but you got to let us have this laugh, okay? If you need a safe space from that, the No Idea Zone is not that place.
And if you need a safe space from that, then you need to take a dart and just shoot it in his throat and tell him to shut up. Because the other day he said we discover more cases of coronavirus.
Oh, if we stop testing.
I said, no.
Stable genius.
Every time Trump says something, I just think about his either campaign strategist or his political manager. And I think to me, they're like the guys in Rocky that were telling, Apollo Creed to stay away from Rocky, like, just get away from him. Get away from him. It's like, stop talking, Trump. Stop talking.
He may still win. They're rolling out Richard Nixon with Ronald Reagan's dementia to run against him.
Oh my God.
Might he win again?
We really have like got so in our feelings as a country that we can't even tell right from wrong anymore. There used to be a time
it's our team, your team, my team. It's Bears Niners, brother.
Order them out of the hotel room. The girlfriend or the lady, she crawls to the officers. Now the attention turns to the gentleman. They make him get on his belly. They tell him to take his feet and, put the left foot over the right foot. And I'm going, fuck, I don't even know if I'd be able to handle that kind of pressure. Cop is barking shit at him, letting him know he's in charge. And he says, you obey. I didn't ask you to do this. I mean, just being really demeaning. I don't know what happened as the man began to crawl toward the police officers, but I think he was so nervous, and he's saying, please don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me. And he's so nervous, and something happens. Well, in that moment, they lit that man up. Man was already on his belly, so where was the threat? But they shot multiple rounds and killed him instantly. And you're starting to see, and by the way, this officer was tried for second-degree murder, but acquitted, and subsequently reinstated back to the force. And he worked for a little bit, but he cited the death of this man as being so traumatic that he was suffering from PTSD. I'm like, you're the one who shot the motherfucker. You know what I mean? And he still receives a pension. I could be wrong on that too. But, as of 2018, he was reinstated, retired, and was given a full pension. So you're starting to see these cops getting real overzealous. And see, like cancer starts small and it grows. So does racism, and so does hatred. It starts with a directed small group of people, but then it gets malignant and it grows.
So Claire, let's just start with your terror of the ocean, because I would have hung out with you when you were here had you not been so terrified of me living near the ocean.
I just don't like the ocean. I don't fuck with it.
Right, but I don't live in the ocean. I don't live on the ocean. Is close to the ocean freaks you out? Like, does seeing the ocean freak you out?
No, I can be on the sand.
So you were just using the ocean as a reason to not come visit me when you came to LA?
No, when I was in LA, I was partying. It was my 21st birthday, and I don't even remember.
You know what? You did invite me to your 21st birthday.
Oh, so you didn't show up?
I didn't show up.
Okay. So.
But you also invited me. You also invited me, to be fair, as the party was just beginning.
Well. So
I didn't have any it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to be in LA in a few days. I'm going to have a party. Come.
It was just party now. Show up.
Right. And that's the way people party. That's partying etiquette.
Right. You say, I'll be there in 10. You actually show up 2 hours later. And that's how it is.
Yeah. I think I did if I can recall. When was your birthday?
My actual birthday?
When was the party?
The party was 28th or 29th of February.
Okay, so we were kind of just about to be in lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe I texted a friend and said, hey, if you can come get me, there's this party. So I do think I tried to get to your party.
Damn. Well, next time, when I move to LA, I'll hit you up.
When's that plan?
I'm not sure. Maybe at the end of this lease. I still have to figure it out.
You're a 1-year lease?
Yeah, my lease here is up April 1st.
So what do you think of Chicago? Tell us about it.
Chicago's a beautiful city, first of all. It's so big, so different from Las Vegas, which is where I'm originally from. There's definitely, I'm looking out my window right now, there's way more green than I would have seen ever growing up in Las Vegas. It's beautiful, it's big, there's trains. I hate driving too, that's another fear, but it's just absolutely beautiful. It's great for comedy. It's a little bit, in my eyes, it's a little bit more improv oriented, but it's just a great city. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And you haven't had to live through a major winter there yet.
No, and I'm not looking forward to it either.
Rochelle, can you hear us? Rochelle, can you hear us?
No, I've never been arrested, you know, knock on wood. Fuck, especially right now, shit. No, I've never been arrested or anything like that. I'm a fairly good noodle. I keep my friends out of the trouble, but I always seem to gravitate towards people who get into the shenanigans. So, like, I almost dated a porn star once. That was a weird time. Like, I met him through some people that I knew through Facebook, and he was just, you know, he worked for like Brazzers or however the fuck you say it, and like Reality Kings and stuff like that. And I was like, I hit him up and I was like, hi, you know, like, that's a really cool profession. Do you like want to tell me everything about it immediately? And he was like, oh, totally. And he asked me to get coffee, and he was actually a really nice human being. But
well, he's getting laid all the time, of course.
He's really,
you know what I mean? So, but I could not cope, and it was a weird thing. But I did have my one of my most prized moments in my life, where I actually made a male porn star blush by objectifying him. So that's something I could take to the grave.
What did you say?
I don't remember specifically, but it was something about like his meat, something to that degree. Like, it was just very blunt, very like something about your dick. And then, yeah, he blushed like full blown, like, oh, it was beautiful. I felt so proud.
Well, the porn community must have really created a very caring space for him, for that to make him blush.
It's just because of how he said it's because of how direct I was about it. I was not like shy or anything. It was just like, bam, yo dick, you know.
You are, and she is very, very direct, because we've had some, you know, we've gotten to know each other a bit on social media leading up to this, and I'm not going to divulge any details, but she's been very blunt with me. So, and I'm no porn star. So Claire, what do you have any wild party?
No, nothing out of the ordinary. I just like pass out in public a lot, so I don't know.
That pretty qualifies. I'd say that qualifies.
It's like my signature move, kind of. So.
What's your? Oh, it is your signature move.
Not to brag or anything, but.
Not to brag.
I love how there's so many of them. You just go, this is what I do. This is my move. You're not like you have many seasons of all-star work in passing out in public.
Oh yeah, no, I remain pretty stable. I like things to be stable, so.
Okay, you like to be in control, sort of.
I'm a major control freak. That's why I was on the ocean.
I noticed a drop in mine as well, and then exercising and taking more vitamins helped balance that back out. So
exercise and vitamins. Exercise and vitamins. Is that what you're saying?
Sexercise. Yeah.
What vitamins?
Yeah.
So I take right now. I'm taking these ones that are for they're for lady business. They're called Flow.
You can just gas station pills.
Tell us what the fucking vitamins are, please.
Gas station pills. They're gas station pills.
Gas station pills.
No, I wish they had fucking gas station pills for lady libido. Are you fucking kidding me? No, they're these ones that I found on the internet, because that's all I do now is I work out, I tattoo myself like real prison, you know, and then I just shop online.
I saw some of those tattoos. Okay, wait now. Because we're getting to the bottom of something here. Sometimes important information is exchanged in the no idea zone. It's called the no idea zone, but we're actually like, this is important shit. If you're on Zoloft and your sexual libido is low, you can take pills, you can take vitamins. We don't know exactly what kind because Hallburn won't tell us exactly what kind.
Whoa. They're for period shit. Like, they're to make you, like, not have period mood swings and stuff. I'm doing a fucking service by taking these vitamins, or you guys will all hear.
Men on Zoloft. This is not a solution for you.
This is not for you. No,
this is
no,
for
I
Claire
can't help you get your dick hard, except
Claire,
for in that way.
Claire, you got something out of this podcast other than just 23 old Jewish women finding out your name and face. You also found out, and many other people will find out through the No Idea Zone, that you can get horny on Zoloft if you just exercise and take some vitamins.
Manifest.
You gotta manifest your libido again. I have no problem with libido.
Visualize the dick. Visualize.
Now, you must be getting pictures of randos commandos. You must be getting randos going commando on you on social media. Both of you, I'm sure, are getting unsolicited appendages.
Not as many as I used to, and I wonder what I'm doing different.
Maybe it's the Zoloft.
I think it's.
Oh no!
I think it's that I post my real personality online now, so not many people are into that.
What can you share a little bit of that with us?
Oh, I'm annoying. I have ABD, which is annoying bitch disorder, so that no one wants that.
That'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. Annoying bitch disorder. That might be the title of this episode.
That's what I have.
Annoying